letter. I want you to take that man that just gave you that letter, Uriah, and I want you to put him in the highest place of battle, a place where you know he's going to die. Because he wouldn't let me fix it in a simple way. He could have just gone home with his wife and it would have been all done. But he make me go this far. Can I ask you, how far is too far? Because you've been with Bathsheba? Is Bathsheba really worth Uriah's life? Is Bathsheba worth you losing your job because your light bill due and you're just going to borrow it until next week? You don't know. I used to work in the banking industry and I worked in the insurance area, risk management. We had so many people to come through there. They done put handcuffs on and said they was embezzling funds from the bank, and their excuse was they were going to put it back next week. The tellers was there. Thank you. Welcome to the bank. How much can I give you? And they would keep back a little bit, and you know, and later on they would take it and put it in their pocket, in their purses, and go home and pay their bill. But the intent was, when I come back next week, I put it back in the cash drawer. And somebody caught them. They lost their job. They have a record now that will follow them the rest of their life. Just to pay a $100 light bill or a $200 light bill. You throw your career away for $500? Really? For real? For real? A few pens and some highlighters, and you gonna throw your job away for that? Some sticky notes? I can use them at home. Baby, it might seem expensive to go to the place and buy it yourself, but it's cheaper than messing with Bathsheba. Have I preached too long? Am I making sense to anybody, though? I don't want to just be here, and what am I preaching about anyway? Tell somebody, say, Bathsheba is not worth it. I wish I can get it in your mind before you leave here. Bathsheba ain't worth it. So next time he run up on you playing his music. You like, hey, that look like Bathsheba right there. And you ought to go, you're not worth it. Yeah, I wish I could preach. I feel like preaching, but I'm going to leave y'all alone. And so they put Uriah on the front line. Uriah's now being a valid man of war. He's fighting and he's going at it for the king's sake. He's going to win the war for the king. And the Bible said, and some of the people fell, and Uriah the Hittite fell also in the battle. And they sent word back to David and said, David, Uriah is dead. We have done what you asked us to do. We have gotten rid of your problem here. And David said, I'm glad you did it. But Job, let me tell you, don't be discouraged about what you had to do for me. I want to tell you, go ahead and fight like you're supposed to fight. Sound like the leader that said, don't do as I do, but do what I tell you to do. I know y'all don't know nothing about that. But I believe what the Bible says. You ought to follow me like I follow Christ. And so David says, it's a done deal now. And he had to wait till the mourning season is up. And when the Bible said Bathsheba heard that her husband Uriah is dead, she began to mourn for her husband. And when the morning time is over, she began to cry out, and the Bible said, and David sent to her and fetched her and made her his wife. And he began to comfort her, and she conceived another child. And let me tell you what the Bible said. The child she had with him that should have been Uriah's child, but he was in an adulterous situation. The Bible said when he thought everything was all done and wiped under the rug, nobody know what we did. You didn't get pregnant first time, so you got away with it. Baby, I came to tell you what you gave up, you can't get back. Lord have mercy, somebody. Yeah, and so and so and so. The Bible declares that right here, that when David was comforting Bathsheba, that the Nathan the prophet came to him and said, David, let me tell your story. And the Bible said there was two men in this city. One was a rich man and one was poor. The rich man had all kinds of cattle and livestock. He had a multitude of sheep, but his next door neighbor, a poor man, he only had a one little wee sheep. He was a tiny little lamb, a lamb that he had brought and brought up with his children. This little lamb ate with the children. This little lamb had his own little bowl. This little lamb was like his daughter. In fact, the lamb would lay on his breast and go to sleep. And David was intrigued with the story. And Nathan says to him that a traveler came from afar to see the rich man. But the rich man wouldn't kill his own sheep, but he went next door and killed the next man's sheep, took that little wee lamb and dressed it up to feed his friends. Yeah. And David, what do you think about it? And David was angry. He was, my God. You know how it is when somebody set you off. They had set David off. And David said, that man need to restore that lamb fourfold. In fact, they need to kill him. That man needs to die. And Nathan looked at him and said, David, thou art that man. Yeah, I got a witness here. You are that man. And David, but don't worry about it, because the same way God said you kill Uriah with the sword of the Ammonite, he's going to send the sword into your family and it won't leave your household. Yes, but God, because he loves you so much, he's not going to take your soul. You'll live, David. I came to tell somebody, behind every decision there are consequences, some good and some, like Bathsheba, it turned out to be bad. She smelled sweet, she smelled sour, she felt sour, she was pleasant on the eye, but oh, it wasn't worthy. Bathsheba wasn't worthy to hear God say. Nathan said, God was displeased with what you've done. David said, oh Lord. He looked at the prophet and said, I've sinned, I've transgressed against the law. I came to tell somebody she's not worth it. Many days came and gone, and I see the Bible say that Bathsheba brings a son forth, and his name is Solomon, and the Lord loved him, but trouble is now in the camp. You may make make a bad decision, and God might forgive you. But sometimes you get out there, you ain't no sense in crying about how your body been impacted with some other kind of disease because you didn't trust the Lord. You were leaning on your own understanding. Can I quit now? But I hear the Bible saying that not to lean to your own understanding. Acknowledge the Lord in all your ways, and He said, He shall direct your path. Anybody in here know you need the Lord? Can't make it by yourself. I need Him. Anybody in here that don't mind testifying? I can't make it by myself. I need the Lord. When do you need Him? Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, all year long, year to year, into eternity. I need the Lord. Somebody shout yeah. Shout yeah. Shout yeah. Oh, I got to quit here. Well, y'all make me want to preach. I can see now why the preacher says, sit down, you make me nervous. I see why he said it now. But listen, y'all, you can sit down, I'm sorry. The Bible says that David has 3 kids here. One was a beautiful young lady, Tom, I believe her name was, and he had a son who loved him. And he conspired to lay with her. She had never been with a man before. He laid with her. And another son, Absalom, killed him, and right after decided, I'm going to kill David and take his kingdom. David is running now. He's running for his life, trying to escape it, but all of it can be traced back to a decision on the roof of the king's palace to touch Bathsheba. And all the stuff you've gone through, I just want to leave with you that Bathsheba is not worth it. Have I preached to anybody yet? You ought to get in your spirit that Bathsheba ain't worth it. I'm going to wait on God. I'm going to trust the Lord. I'm going to lean on God. If He might not come when you want it. If I had an old church, that's what they would just say. He might not come when you want Him, but He's always on time. I feel you over there. I feel you over there. But they tell me, that Jesus came for one purpose and one purpose alone. He came to seek and save that was lost. And one day in my life, I was lost, but I'm glad He knew where I was. He knew I was stuck in the muck and the mire. He knew I got in a situation I couldn't get out of. You and I both were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. Sound like David when David began to declare. He said, Lord, I don't have no real excuse. But the reason why I messed with Bathsheba, because it's in my nature. He said, I was born in sin. I was shaped in iniquity. In my mother's womb where I conceived in sin. He said, oh God, but I'm sorry that I transgressed against you. I can hear David say, oh God. He said, Lord, wash me with hyssop, and I'll be clean, and I'll be whiter than snow. He said, God, create in me. Is there anybody in here need God to create in you a clean heart? You know you made some mistakes. God, if you just give me another chance, can you hit the delete out and reboot the system? He said, create in me a clean heart and renew in me the right spirit. Lord God, have mercy. He said, then I will teach sinners your ways. Anybody in here? I'm so glad that He looked beyond my faults and saw my needs. I'm so glad He didn't give me what I deserve, what I owe. I can never repay. I'm in deficit. sin. I owe God so much. I never recover from my deficit. But I'm glad from now into eternity, I will give God what I owe him. What do you owe the Lord? I owe him a sacrifice of praise. I'm going to open my mouth. I'm going to cry loud and declare his goodness in the land of the living. Anybody in here can say today, oh, magnify the Lord with me and let us exalt his name together. Why do you want to do that? Well, because he came all the way down some 42 generations. He gave up his place in glory, walked the streets of Galilee and Jerusalem. And while he was here, he healed the sick, he raised the dead, he opened blinded eyes, he fed the multitude, he showed miracles, he taught us the way how we ought to live for God. Anybody with me here? But one day they marched him out to a place called Cary. You remember Cary? My great-grandmother used to sing about Cary. She'll break out at the cross, at the cross. Y'all don't know the song. Where I first saw the light and the burdens of my heart, they rolled away. You remember Calvary, right? It was there by faith I received my sight, and now, and now, and now, I said now I'm happy all the days where one day they put him in, they put him on a cross, they stretched him wide, they lifted him high, he stayed there until it was finished. He cried out and said it is finished, gave up the ghost. I'm glad it didn't stop there. They took him down, put him in a 3-day rental. He stayed there 3 nights and 3 days. But early, I wish I had some help here. Early, he got out the grave. One morning, he stood on the rock, a rock on a rock, and declared all power is given unto me. Power, power to save, power to raise, power to forgive sin, yeah, power. Somebody tell your neighbor, say, Bathsheba's not working. I'm going to wait on God till he endow me with power. Say, power, 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 yeah. Yeah, ain't he all right? See, one thing about my preaching, sometimes I get happy myself. Ain't he all right? I say in the old church, they say, ain't he all right? They don't say, isn't he all right? They say, ain't he all right? How you know he's all right? I was sick. He healed my body. Ain't he all right? I was down. Yeah. He picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on solid ground. Ain't he all right? How you say he's all right? When I couldn't find my way, he led me out. Ain't he all right? He's a doctor in a sick room, lawyer in a courtroom. Ain't he all right? Yeah, 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 yeah. He's all right. Shout yeah! Somebody shout yeah! Shout yeah! Bathsheba Anybody believe that yet? I don't know if I pressed my claim well enough, but she ain't worth it. And when does Bathsheba show up? When you decide to do God's will. Something you thought you could resist shows up. While you stand, I don't know if I should pray at this point or not, but listen. While you're in the place where you are, know that no one can do you like Jesus. You might